A quiet afternoon in England is suddenly shattered by the blaring alarms of the Bank of London. Police flood the streets, chasing a thief named Lao Xing desperate to escape. Lao climbs out of a window and hides in a passing tailor's cart. The cart provides him with a fresh suit, helping him blend in. But the police are still everywhere. Thinking fast, he scrambles up a tree to stay out of sight. Before moving forward, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It will help us keep bringing your favorite movie recaps. From his hiding spot, Lao notices he's landed in the garden of an eccentric scientist, Felias. At that moment, Felias is in the middle of a heated argument with his valet, who has finally had enough of his boss's dangerous experiments and quits on the spot. Before Lao can react, he loses his grip and tumbles down into the garden. Realizing he still needs a safe place to hide, Lao quickly pretends to be Felias' new valet. He even claims to be half French to sound more convincing. Felias, eager to test his latest invention, doesn't ask too many questions. Instead, he straps Lao into a machine designed to break the 50-mile-per-hour speed barrier. The invention works, but it also sends Lao flying through the city, crashing into everything in his path. Felias rushes to retrieve him, thrilled by his experiment's success, while Lao is already beginning to understand why the last valet quit. Unfortunately, the police are still on his trail, leaving him no choice but to keep up the act and stay by Felias' side. Meanwhile, at the Royal Academy of Science, Scotland Yard officers announce that the Jade Buddha has been stolen. Baron Kelvin, the Minister of Science, is furious, hurling objects at the officers until he's interrupted by Fong, the leader of the Black Scorpions. She was the first to steal the Buddha, planning to trade it for military support from the British Army. But now that it's gone, Kelvin refuses to honor their deal. Furious, Fong orders her men to retrieve the stolen artifact. Back at Felia's house, the scientist excitedly introduces Lao to the wonders of electricity and proudly shows off his unfinished invention, a flying machine. Later that night, Lao sneaks into Felia's office to write a letter to his father in China, promising to return home soon with the village's missing protector. Lao's next task is to help Felias get into the Royal Academy, while Felias zooms around in his wheelie shoes. Felias wants to present his invention, a machine that can break the speed barrier. But no one takes him seriously as a scientist, and Kelvin dismisses him, claiming that everything worth discovering has already been found. Their argument is suddenly interrupted when a man complains about the chaos at the bank. As people gossip about a Chinese thief working alone, Lao slyly adds his own twist to the rumors, suggesting it's actually a gang of elderly Norwegians. Felias finds the talk of catching the thief silly. He points out that, with perfect timing and the right transportation, the thief could already be back in China in exactly 80 days. Lao immediately realizes this is the opportunity he needs. He spreads another rumor that leads Kelvin to challenge Felias to travel around the world and return in 80 days. Felias agrees, but only if, upon winning, he can take Kelvin's position as Minister of Science. To everyone's shock, Kelvin accepts. However, if Felias fails, he must give up science forever. A huge crowd gathers outside Felias' house to see him off, but fear grips him. What if he loses everything? Lao reminds him to stand by his beliefs and reassures him that he's not alone. Encouraged, Felias finally steps out to begin the adventure. As they speed off in Felias' bizarre car invention, corrupt Inspector Fix, bribed by Kelvin, stops them. He claims their vehicle breaks city regulations and tries to arrest them. But when Fix forcefully grabs the car, it malfunctions, dragging him along until it crashes. Seizing the moment, Felias and Lao hop into Fix's own vehicle and race toward their ship. Watching from a distance, Kelvin and Fong immediately start plotting their next move, sending their people overseas to make sure Felias never makes it back. 2 days later, Lao and Felias arrive in Paris. As they walk through the busy streets, Lao suddenly spots members of the Black Scorpions hiding among the crowd. Without hesitation, he grabs Felias and rushes into an art fair, pretending it's one of Edison's latest science exhibitions. Felias is immediately unimpressed, but an artist named Monique captures his attention. She introduces him to the beauty of Impressionism, showing him a painting of a flying man. As they discuss her sketches, Felias finds himself unexpectedly fascinated. Meanwhile, the Black Scorpions catch up to Lao and chase him upstairs. With his incredible martial arts skills, Lao takes on all of them at once, using anything he can find as a weapon. Though he wins the fight, he knows the danger isn't over. He quickly hurries downstairs to warn Felias. Realizing her new friends are in trouble, Monique grabs her painting and leads them through a hidden passage. They emerge from a manhole in the middle of the street. When Felias offers her a reward for helping them escape, Monique surprises him by asking to join their journey. Before he can answer, Lao sees the Black Scorpions closing in again. Thinking fast, he suggests they escape in a hot air balloon. The group rushes forward, cutting in line to climb aboard. But to lighten the load, Felias throws out some extra bags. Without realizing, one of them holds all their money and, more importantly, the Buddha. Lau panics as an old lady picks up the bag. Without a second thought, he jumps off the balloon to snatch it back, only to get bitten by the furious woman. Worse, the black scorpions spot him. Desperately, he tosses the bag up to Felia's, then clings to the balloon's rope, fighting off the black scorpions even as the balloon starts to rise. Lau gets dragged through the streets of Paris, crashing into buildings and obstacles until he finally gets stuck on a statue. The only way out? Ditching his pants. Once he scrambles back into the balloon, Felia's tells Monique she can't come with him. But Monique refuses to give up. Later, when the men board the Orient Express, she follows them again. After an argument about her persistence, Felia storms off to another train car, giving Monique a chance to confront Lau. She tells him she noticed those mysterious warriors chasing him, meaning he's hiding something. Cornered, Lau finally confesses. The sacred Buddha from his village was stolen, and he's on a mission to get it back before the ruthless warlord Fong seizes power. Monique agrees to keep his secret, but only if he helps her convince Felia's to let her stay. When Felia's returns, dragged back by annoyed train conductors who didn't appreciate his unsolicited scientific advice, Lau quickly comes up with a lie. He tells Felia's that Monique is actually his long-lost cousin from the French side of his family. Felia's is skeptical, but Monique has a plan. She charms the conductors into accepting Felia's train improvements, making the train go faster. As a reward, they all get access to first class, and Felia's finally allows her to stay. Later, while fetching tea in the kitchen, Lau runs into Fix, who immediately recognizes him. Thinking fast, Lau punches him a few times and tosses him out of the train window to protect the mission. By day 10, the group reaches Turkey. They don't plan to stop in Istanbul, but Prince Happy has other ideas. He sends his warriors to force them to his palace for dinner. Monique is captivated by Happy's musical talent and stunning art collection, especially a statue of himself that he guards obsessively. Felia's, feeling irrationally jealous, agrees to stay just to keep an eye on them. During dinner, held in a giant bathtub, Happy makes his intentions clear. He wants Monique as his 7th wife and won't take no for an answer. Thinking fast, Felia's and Lau pretend to leave, giving Happy and Monique some alone time. But instead, they stop by Happy's beloved statue and threaten to smash it unless he lets Monique go. Desperate, Happy orders his guards to step back and lets Monique go. But in his excitement, Felia's accidentally breaks the statue anyway. Furious, Happy sends his men after them. Thinking fast, the trio uses a piece of the broken statue to block the door and escape safely. Meanwhile, in London, Kelvin receives a telegram from Fix, revealing that Felia's valet is actually the thief. Now convinced that the bet was just a cover to steal the Buddha, Kelvin orders British soldiers in India to arrest Felia's and Lau. By day 24, the trio is on a train to India. Lau keeps the children on board, entertained with stories of the legendary 10 Tigers warriors, but Felia's dismisses them as myths. Suddenly, the train stops in Agra. British soldiers are searching for them. Overhearing this, the trio quickly slips away, blending into the bustling city in disguise. The intense heat takes a toll on Felia's, and he rushes to a nearby outhouse to recover, only to run straight into Fix. Realizing he's been caught, Felia's slams the door into Fix and faints. Lau and Monique quickly drag him into a merchant's cart, but before they can get far, they are ambushed by the black scorpions. Monique is tied to the cart while Lau attempts to escape, but he ends up bumping into Fix again, who locks them together with handcuffs. Now Lau must fight a deadly scorpion while dragging Fix along. Meanwhile, Monique manages to free herself, but a fierce female scorpion attacks. Just then, Felia's regains consciousness and springs into action, using a hidden gadget inside his cane. The device knocks over a nearby shop display, burying the warrior under a pile of falling objects. Lau, still handcuffed to Fix, dashes through the city, using him as a human shield. The chaos finally overwhelms Fix, and he passes out, giving Lau the chance to make his escape. After pulling off a few clever moves, Lau knocks out the scorpion and rushes back to his friends. They quickly find the key to the cuffs and dress Fix in Felia's clothes before tossing him into a cart. As they push the cart away, they shout that the wanted criminal is escaping, tricking the soldiers into chasing it. Now the trio needs to go somewhere outside British control. Lau suggests China, and they set off. By day 41, they reach Lau's village. To keep up his lie, Lau asks the villagers to welcome Felia's and Monique as warmly as they welcome him. While Lau secretly returns the stolen Buddha, Felia's and Monique explore the village, learning about its culture. That evening, after too many drinks, Felia stumbles into a room looking for a place to sleep. Instead, he finds old pictures of Lau with his family and a letter Lau had sent to his father. Realizing the truth, Felia confronts Lau, furious at being deceived. His anger deepens when Monique defends Lau. Feeling betrayed, Felia accuses them of using him and putting his life at risk for nothing. Heartbroken, he storms off. Before Lau can explain, disaster strikes. The Black Scorpions capture Felias. As they search the village for the missing Buddha, they lock Lau, Monique, and Felias in wooden cages outside. When the Scorpions fail to find the statue, their leader threatens them, demanding its location. Lau refuses to give in and instead challenges the leader to a duel. At first, Lau has the upper hand, but the Scorpion leader cheats, using his warriors to turn the fight in his favor. Just when all hope seems lost, a new group of warriors appears, the legendary 10 Tigers. To everyone's shock, they reveal that Lau is actually one of them. Fighting together, the 10 Tigers easily defeat the Black Scorpions. Lau forces their leader to swear never to return to the village. With the battle over, the Buddha is finally restored to its temple. But Felias is still too hurt to listen to Lau or Monique. Without a word, he leaves them behind. By day 61, he reaches San Francisco. Just as he arrives, a woman pretends to be injured in front of him. But it's just a trick. Before he knows it, she's stolen all his bags. 3 days later, Felias is nothing more than a homeless man wandering the streets. Even when another tramp gives him advice, he can't seem to get a single coin from the locals. The only thing he has left is a notebook in his jacket pocket, where he keeps Monique's painting of the flying man. He often stares at it, lost in his shattered dreams. That's when he notices something he hadn't seen before, a message on the back. It's a note from Monique, saying she traveled the world searching for inspiration and found it in him. For the first time, Felias wonders if he had been wrong about his travel companions. Just then, as if fate had heard his thoughts, Lau and Monique appear before him. They have traveled all the way to the USA to help him win his bet. Overwhelmed by their loyalty, Felias finally sees them as true friends. He takes them back, ready to continue their journey together. Meanwhile, back in London, Fong tries to convince Kelvin to lend her British soldiers once again. This time, she promises to share the jade reserves from Lau's village. Kelvin agrees, but reminds her that if he loses the bet, he will no longer have power over the army. Determined to stop Felias, Fong swears she will cut his journey short. By day 66, Felias and his friends are stranded in the middle of the American desert. Their cart's wheel is broken, and Lau has gone to find help. But the scorching heat gets to him. He collapses on the road from dehydration. While Felias and Monique discuss their next move, an unexpected miracle happens. They are found by none other than the Wright brothers. The famous inventors are huge fans of Felias and even have Lau in the back of their cart. They help fix the vehicle, and before parting ways, Felias offers them some advice for their flying machine as a token of gratitude. By day 72, the trio finally reaches New York. The city is buzzing with excitement. Word of Felias' bet has spread, and the entire country is cheering him on. But the massive crowd makes it nearly impossible for them to reach their ship. That's when an Irish cop steps in. He claims to be a fan of anyone who steals from the British and offers them a shortcut. But the moment they follow him, they realize it's a trap. They are dragged into an old workshop where Fong and her men are waiting. The odds seem against them, but Lau refuses to back down. He tells Felias and Monique to run while he fights off their attackers. Using whatever objects he can find in the workshop, he takes them on. But Fong? She's not so easy to defeat. A horn sounds in the distance, signaling that the ship to London is about to leave. But Felias, valuing his friend's life above all, turns back to help Lau. He drops a huge prop on Fong, knocking her out. Monique takes advantage of the moment and surprises Fong from behind, knocking her out for good. They know another ship will leave soon, but Felias fears they'll miss it. Lau refuses to let him give up, reminding him of all the dangers they've already survived. With renewed determination, the trio rushes to the port to catch the next ship. The following day, they're sailing across the Atlantic. The captain, a fan of Felias, agrees to burn all the ship's coal to speed things up. But it only buys them 6 extra hours, and they're still a day behind schedule. Felias is ready to give up when, out of nowhere, an idea hits him. He watches a group of birds soaring above them and realizes that by combining the physics of bird flight with the Wright brothers' steering system, he can create the flying machine he's always dreamed of. To make it work, they'll have to tear apart the ship, but the captain agrees, accepting Felias' promise to pay him for a better vessel later. After working tirelessly, the flying machine is ready on day 80, with just 5 hours left to reach London. Felias and Monique celebrate with a kiss, and the trio takes off, flying back to England. But as they approach London, the machine starts to fall apart. Thanks to Felias and Lau's quick thinking, they manage to land safely in front of the Royal Academy, just as Big Ben marks the end of their time. Unfortunately, their relief is short-lived. Kelvin is there, and he orders Scotland Yard to arrest them. As the crowd gathers, Monique exposes Kelvin's crimes. The Academy lords, along with Fix, support her, tired of Kelvin's bullying. But Kelvin laughs, reminding them he's still in control and nothing will happen to him. Just as he finishes his taunting speech, Queen Victoria steps forward, ordering Scotland Yard to arrest Kelvin. She reveals that she had bet on Phileas the whole time. To help him, Victoria points out something simple but crucial. Phileas had been calculating his time based on other time zones. In England, he still has 24 hours left before the challenge ends. Overjoyed, the trio rushes up the stairs of the Royal Academy, where Phileas is finally crowned the Minister of Science. Please subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like. It really helps the channel. Thank you for watching.